So we made it to Tampa, and this was actually my second session with Ben. First session officially training together. Ben is going to be my coach for the next, I don't know, as long as it takes. He says that it'll probably take 16 weeks for me to achieve my body composition goals, and for me to either be ready to compete or be ready for a photo shoot or whatever.
Yeah, I think 4 months is going to be great, and we'll assess, right? Like, I think you're going to be very happy with your progress. I know your work ethic, so we'll just devise a plan, and as long as you execute, which I know you will, the changes are going to be tremendous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I wouldn't have anyone else guiding me through it. This is something totally out of my comfort zone. It's something that, to be honest with you, it's terrifying. I've been focused more on performance goals and just on getting stronger and being more athletic, and now shifting a little bit to taking better care of my diet and training with a little bit more purpose and focus, and having more specific goals as far as what I want to achieve with the way that my body looks. So today we did some posing. So it was my first time posing, actually, and I don't think it was that terrible. It is really difficult. It's really difficult, especially to control your breath and hold the positions for as long as you need to hold them. I don't know, when you're being judged, that was really difficult.
Yeah, tall. So a little underdeveloped on this side compared to the other side. Try again. Relax as long as you can. Relax. Float further. Track down. Contract into the twist. Not down. Back to this one. First. So I want you to make your entire thoracolumbar fascia kind of as big as possible. So expanding here and then expanding here. And if you get good at it, you'll be able to go. So the sequence usually goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So you'll feel it in those places in that order. So it'll be sides, lower tummy, upper tummy, back. And exhale. So when you're coming in, the diaphragm's coming down. When you're exhaling, out the diaphragm to come up. So I want you to consciously think about pulling the diaphragm up and under the rib cage. So you're trying to make your waist as big as possible, and then as small as possible, but small happens by pulling the diaphragm up and in.
Ben did a little bit of testing to see what my CO2 tolerance is, and it was honestly shocking for me, and then quite disappointing to see just how low my CO2 capacity or tolerance is. And it opened my eyes for the fact that I probably need to be training a little bit better my cardiovascular system, and be working more on my breathing patterns.
Whenever you're ready, inhale as deeply as you can, all the way up into the lungs, all the way up into the diaphragm, and then let me know. We'll start. Give me a thumbs up. We'll start the timer, and we'll see how long we can do on the exhale.
I think I'm gonna get like 10 seconds. So I blew up 15 balloons for Hayden's birthday, and after the third one, I was like. Had no more air left.
Diaphragm.
Yeah, I know. It's weak as shit.
So when you close your eyes, I'm going to start the timer. So when you start exhaling, close your eyes. Diaphragm. About 18 or 19 seconds. Okay, that's one way. Do you feel like the strong urge to breathe? Okay, we're going to do another way. This time, you're going to just comfortably breathe. So get your breath down, try to slow down your heart rate a little bit. This time we're going to exhale all the way. And just a comfortable exhalation, not like a forced exhalation. At the end of the exhalation, we're going to hold your breath. And you see how long that is. 15 seconds.
Yeah, it's so bad.
It's okay. So that's called your Bolt score. So that's your body's ability to tolerate carbon dioxide. So your body's ability to tolerate carbon dioxide is very low. So when you get a little bit of accumulation of carbon dioxide, your body goes into sympathetic arousal, and your heart rate goes up, your body temperatures go up, heart starts palpating. So if we can increase your CO2 tolerance, your performance will go up, your stress will go down, your anxiety will go down, your body will do a much better job at staying aerobic when you're doing more work. Right, so you're very sympathetic because you've trained your body to do that. That's great. That's been your greatest blessing. But now we're going to shift it so that you can be more aerobic, so you can do more dense work and not feel like you're gassed. Right. So you've got this amazing gas pedal. Now we're just going to give you a steering wheel, so we can do a little more work over a little more time. So whenever you're ready, settle that breath in, exhale all the way, hold your breath. This time you're going to hold your breath as long as you possibly can until you feel the strong urge to breathe. Breathe in, through your nose once you have to. So it's always through your nose. And then as quickly as you can, stay nasal and settle your breath back in. So you're gonna hold your breath as long as you can. We're gonna do that 3 to 4 times. So
how do you know like when you need to keep pushing yourself to hold the breath? Yeah. Like how hard do you push yourself?
I think it's as hard as your nervous system will allow you to push, right? There's certain people probably who can push too hard, but not many. Like it's because it's an urge, it's an instinct. It's not like you can consciously override it at some level, but at some point your body's gonna breathe.
So we started the session with activation exercises, which is interesting. You know, we used hip thrusts and lunges as activation exercises, and it honestly required me to think a lot more about the exercise and how I was doing it, and that alone increased the perceived difficulty of the exercise.
So what I'm looking at, as Stefi does with lunges, is how much each joint is traveling. People usually just look at the exercise in general. I'm looking joint by joint. So if we look at her knee compared to her hip, which one's moving more, and that's going to be indicative of which muscle is doing more work. So if we want the quad to do more work, we get the knee to travel more. In this case, we want her glute to do more work. So we're going to cue her on that hip. So come to the bottom and stop. Drive the hip back. So let's go to the next one. Step forward and stop. Right there, stop. Put all the weight on your front leg, nothing on the back leg. Good. So you can have the back leg down, but I don't want to be right there. Now, I want you to just constantly, instead of just falling straight down, I want you to fall straight down, but drive the hip back at the same time. Keep all the weight in this leg. So trying to get into that hip flexor. Good. Now don't move yet. Drive into the floor as hard as you can. Don't move. Now use that contraction through the glute to push back up. Good. So we're shifting the tension to her glute and away from the quad. So really drive the hip back. All the weight to the front leg, nothing on the back leg. There you go. Push back.
I'm used to just like slapping. What's my best hip thrust? I think I've done like 405 for 15, you know? But this felt way more difficult than that felt, because I was just, I guess, using momentum, like, or I guess not in terms of difficulty, but I felt my glute muscles working a lot more than I felt with a 405 for 15. So
you will notice it to be more difficult too, because to make this contract, everything else has to not move. So everything else is actually contracting to create stability. So that's why it can actually feel, harder. Yeah.
So the focus on the hip flexors and then focusing on contracting the glutes at the bottom of the exercise and then at the top holding there.
Do you feel the contraction getting better? So what I want you to look for is I want you to look for the subjective place where you're like, okay, I feel like the contraction's turned on, like really ramped up. We'll stop that and we'll actually load it. So I want you to get to the point, we're just using this as a amplification of the nervous signal. Okay, and then we'll get to the point where, like, let's actually put some load on. You can go a little bit faster with the reps.
Because I have to override how I usually do this exercise.
Yeah, so
like
maybe wait.
Thrusting it from the bottom, like just using speed to get it up.
Right, which may have its place, right? I'm not one to say, like, it doesn't work, because obviously it does for some people. The trick is making sure the glute is actually the thing doing the work. So that's what we're trying to do here, is we're trying to tell the nervous system, like, hey, brain, let's amplify this, like an activation. And then we put some load on, and hopefully the glute ends up doing a greater percentage of the load.
So all of that was really challenging. Then lunges, I did them completely different than what I'm used to doing them, focusing a lot more on contracting my glutes and keeping that contraction all throughout the motion from the top to the bottom. Then we added that band.
Yeah. And how did that feel compared to what you normally do?
I mean, a lot more difficult. But I think like the focus aspect, kind of like the learning curve is, I guess, as the more that I do this and the more in tune that I become with my body, the easier the exercises are going to be and the more I can load them. But at this point, it's like learning on any new skill. You have to like think about every move that you're doing. Same as boxing. Like you're learning how to throw the punch or like learning how to do something, and you have to be really focused with every single joint and muscle.
Big part of learning a new skill, so is urgency. So we should hit short-term timelines and targets, so that you have that sense of urgency, like, oh shit, I need to do this. Like I have this set up, like this photo shoot set or this whatever it is, where I know I have to be at this standard. Urgency is a big part of it. That's why competing sometimes is useful. Not that I'm going to push you to competing, but the only benefit I see from people competing is like I actually have a deadline, I have urgency. So my brain goes, I have to do this. So there's no cutting corners. I have to be like, I have that pressure to get shit done. That's a big piece. Stay on the outside of your foot. Come on. 2. One more. Use that glute. 5 to go. 5 to go. Come on, girl. Strong. Let the knee fall out. Nice rep. 2 more. 2 more. Yes. Good rep. Yes.
Oh, that sucks.
Even through your nose, as quick as you can.
I'm gonna have you walk tomorrow.
You are?
No. I can barely walk right now.
I'll throw you over my shoulder. Let's go.
Well, I mean, even if I don't compete, I think just like having the goal of the photo shoot or just like committing myself to you and the program, and that's all useful. I feel like I really needed this. I told you the other day we went out for a run. I think we were gonna do just like a mile run as fast as we could. And I had this, I've been an athlete my whole life, but I didn't feel like I had that fire in me to like push myself or really challenge myself. That's something that I've been struggling with. It's like when I'm doing these like difficult exercises, it's like my brain's totally overpowering my body, and it's like this is not important. Like it's almost like the relevancy of pushing my body physically is like less.
Right.
I don't know if it's like a motivation issue or I don't know the point in my life that I'm at.
Doing the same thing. Like, it's so hard for people to conceptualize. You've been at the top of the world, and now they're like, "Hey, I need you to get in shape to go to the beach." And I was like, "The fuck are you talking about?" Like, you go from competing at the Miss Olympia or in the best powerlifting competition in the world, and you're like, I can't get motivated for something that's less than that. Like, it's just, I'm going through the exact same thing you are. Yeah, it's an interesting paradigm. So what I'm realizing is finding the joy in the process rather than the end result is the key. So like my training has been amazing lately because I'm just loving the day. I'm like, I'm just gonna put work in today, and if this feels good, I'm happy. So rather than being attached to the end result, which is a different paradigm for us, but I think more empowering and certainly a happier place to be rather than always having to chase the carrot, which is always the moving target.
That's right. It's a fine line, and that's why I add humor into the session and I like mess around with whoever I'm training with, because I know myself, and if I take it too seriously, I'm putting so much pressure on myself that I stop enjoying it. Like it's not fun anymore. It happened to me like after our first month of boxing. Like I think I came back to a session and I wasn't as coordinated and I was pissed off. Like I didn't want to train, like my attitude sucked, and then Hayden had an intervention. He's like, dude, you can't have that attitude. Like you just have to have fun, but also take it seriously, but also have fun.
And for you, it's like if you don't take it seriously to a certain point, it's not fun. Like you're not like a recreational weekend fun stuff kind of person.
Yeah. Either I'm all in or I'm out. Yeah. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Next video, we're gonna do upper body, right? So we're gonna do delts. Yeah. Top of the head.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sternocleidomastoid.
Yeah. Occipitals.
Yep.
Yeah.
I used to do those.
TMJ. Maybe I'll polish Ben's head.
Wax on, wax off.
Yeah. You can maybe braid my hair. Okay. Catch you guys next time. Bye. Peace.